Hello and welcome to the channel. So Nextcloud is this feature-rich alternative cloud service which is free and open source, and you can host it yourself, so you can access your files in the cloud and share it with others without resorting to the use of some proprietary platform from some big corporation. And let's be honest, these big corporations are giving this kind of free services away because that's the way they can gain more users to spy on. So to have Nextcloud, you can self-host it, you can rent a virtual server, or you can use a physical computer at your home as a server, and you can install the Nextcloud service on it from a snap package, which is very convenient and it auto updates. So even if you are not an experienced system administrator, or you are not someone who is experienced in setting up servers, you can relatively simply set up a Nextcloud server with the snap package. The problem is that if you want to use the same computer as this Nextcloud server, but you also want to host maybe other web applications on it or just a regular website, you will have to do some legwork and set up a reverse proxy. And because I couldn't really find any good tutorials on the web for how to do it from start to finish, I decided to do my own. So let me show you what is basically what we are going to work for in this tutorial, and which is going to be, if I switch to my web browser here, you can see that we will have this one website test, www.nicemicro.com. This is basically just hosting a simple website. And if I go to this testcloud.nicemicro.com, this has the Nextcloud installed. And if we go and ping those sites, so if I ping the testcloud.nicemicro.com and then I ping the test www.nicemicro.com, you can see that these two have the same IP address. So I will show you how to install the Nextcloud Snap on a Debian web server, and then how to set up the reverse proxy for that, so you can use other web services on the same server while also using all the conveniences that a snap package provides, such as the auto updates. And so for starters, you will have to have your own server. I already have Debian 10 installed. You can use Ubuntu also for this tutorial. And I also have set up a user who has sudo privileges, or you can just, if you don't want to do that, you can just log in as root, but I don't really suggest that. For today's tutorial, I will be using a lot of different sources, which you can find all of them down under this video in the description. And also I have made on my website in the articles section under the tutorial links, there is this Nextcloud snap package with reverse proxy entry, and you will find this tutorial if you want to copy and paste the comments. Everything is going to be here with some description, so you can use this parallel to this video that you are watching. By the time you are opening this up, you will probably be changed a little, because I will have links to this video on the site too. So anyways, let's just jump back to our console and let's start working on our web server. So of course you will have to use an SSH command to get into your web server, and let's get started. Okay, so I am in your Debian web server here, and I did the apt upgrade because on Debian, if you check out the Snapcraft homepage, you will find that you need to install Snapd because it's not installed by default. If you are on Ubuntu, you will have Snapd installed. And we will also need this core package on our system. So let's do that, and let's sudo apt install Snapd so we can get Snapd on our computer. And I've read in one tutorial that we should also source these kind of paths that the snap uses to our user. So we can use source / etc/profile.d/apps. The apps is a double ps bin path.sh. So this one will give us all the kind of path variables that we would need. I'm not 100% sure that for what we are going to do it's 100% required, but it's kind of, I read it's a good idea to do that, or otherwise you might have to log out and log in for all the required paths to be added to your path variables. So now next thing we should do is install the snap core package with sudo snap install core command. This will install this kind of dependency bundle on your computer. So this core package is used by a lot of other snap packages as a dependency, so you should have that. I already had this installed on this computer previously because I realized I was not recording, so I had to re-record and I couldn't remove the core package even though I removed snapd. So this is some interesting factoid. You might find that even if you remove snapd, this core snap package will be not removed from your system. Okay, so let's install the Nextcloud snap package, which you can find on the Snapcraft website. So I just clicked on how to install Nextcloud on Debian, and here if we scroll down we will find the command. This should be the same for Ubuntu, so we are just going to say sudo snap install Nextcloud, and this will install the Nextcloud snap package for us in a minute. And so for setting up this Nextcloud install, I used DigitalOcean's tutorial, so now we have installed successfully. So here we can find some information on how to handle snap packages, how can we use these snap commands to get some information on our snap package that we have here. It is not really essential to do that just to run the system, but maybe getting familiar with this command can be a good idea. So what we need to do is do this setup for the Nextcloud manual install process, where we are going to create a administrator user who can log in through the Nextcloud web interface and can manage the whole Nextcloud website we are going to set up. You could do that without this kind of command line setup, but it's more secure this way, because then no one without any authentication can actually use Nextcloud through the web-facing interface without actually having registered like this. So we will do sudo-i nextcloud.manual-install, and we will give an administrator username. I will just use the admin name with Q, W, and E and R as a password and press enter. So please choose a better password for your administrator user. You can give any kind of username to the administrative user. It's like your regular user that you will be using to access Nextcloud can have this administrative privilege, and then you don't have to, have a separate administrator and a separate user account there. But maybe it's a better idea security-wise that you need to log in separately if you want to use the administrative functions of Nextcloud. So next thing we need to do after this manual install is we will have to change a few things. So we are going to use this server not just for Nextcloud, but we are going to use it as a regular web server, and maybe in the future we will add more and more other applications to it. So we don't want the Nextcloud Snap to take over our regular HTTP and HTTPS ports. We would like to put Nextcloud behind a reverse proxy, and so to do that we will have to make this snap package to listen to different ports, and well, for example, instead of 80 for HTTP and 443 for HTTPS, we can use 81 and 444, and in that case we will not let these ports through the firewall, so this won't be accessible from outside, but the reverse proxy that will be listening on the regular 80 and regular 443 ports, that will just redirect the proper packages or the proper requests that are going to Nextcloud, just redirect to the Nextcloud snap without using the network, so inside the computer itself. And so let's make this Nextcloud snap package to listen to these other ports instead. So we will use this sudo snap set Nextcloud ports.http equals 81 and ports.https equals 444. So now that we have done that, we can go to the next step. We will basically use Nginx as our reverse proxy and also as a web server on our server here. So let's install Nginx. So we can check how to do that in another tutorial. Basically, we will just install Nginx with the apt install command, and we will have to allow it through our firewall. So let's do sudo apt install Nginx, and well, yes, we want to install it, and of course Nginx will be our program that will be listening on port 80 and port 443, so we will have to allow it through our firewall, so actually other computers can access it through the network, which is something we want on a web server. So in my case, I am using the UFW firewall, so I am just going to say sudo UFW allow and Nginx full in quotation marks, and we can check the status with sudo UFW status, and will tell us that we have the ports for SSH and Nginx open. Well, SSH, you have to have it open so you can access your server remotely, of course. And so the next step is going to be creating the reverse proxy through creating a new server block on this system here. So we will have to create a new file that will contain all the information to forward things to the Nextcloud installation, and so we will do that. So first I will have to basically create a new file. I'm going to use vim, but you can use nano, so I'm just typing in sudo vim, but you can use sudo nano or some other text editor of your choice that is available on your computer. Maybe you like Emacs, then use that. We will edit the /etc/nginx/site-available, and we will create, this is a file that doesn't exist yet, but we will create it by typing in Nextcloud. It could, technically the name could be anything, but it should be something that will tell you what this file is, and Nextcloud is what it's going to be. And so I will set up my my file here, my server block file. I don't want you to watch me type this whole thing in, but I will explain to you what I made here when I'm finished with typing. Okay, so what actually I did, I didn't type this whole thing in by myself. I copied it from the tutorial in my website. So if you do the same thing, here are the things that we should be changing. So first of all, we have a server block for HTTP and we have a server block for HTTPS, and both of them should have the server name, the exact domain name that we are going to be using on our server. So for me it's gonna be, of course, nicemicro.com. So that should be different, and it's not gonna be Nextcloud, it's going to be Testcloud. So I'm going to use testcloud.nicemicro.com here, and also change this thing here in the HTTPS block too. So if you are running your own server on your own domain, you should change these things from what you find on my website to your actual domain names. So first block does what does it do? It does, like, if we got an HTTP request to this server in which what our server is referenced as testcloud.nicemicro.com. So when someone types in testcloud.nicemicro.com in their web browser, then their web browser will actually look up what IP address this name belongs to, but will still call this server by this name too. So the server can check, okay, I was called by this name, so Nginx will just check the configurations in this file. And so if it's an HTTP request on port 80, what it will do is actually say that, okay, 301, it's a redirect request, please redirect to the HTTPS site with the same host at port 443 with the same request that you requested from me in HTTP. So now the web browser will say, okay, I will just check the HTTPS on the same name but at a different port. And so if we get a request from port 443 with SSL and HTTP2 protocols on this same server name, these are kind of the things that should be considered. So this one, client max body size, it's there is no maximum for the body size, so this will be important if you want to disable uploading too big files. You can change this so the HTTPS request cannot be bigger than a certain size. And there is also some other information on how to deal with the HTTPS things. And what is important here is that so the HTTPS, the secure communication, will happen between our so your browser or the user's browser and the server side. It will be handled by Nginx, the reverse proxy. So Nginx handles the encrypted traffic, and it will basically decrypt this traffic and it will forward it to our Nextcloud snap without any encryption. And we don't need the encryption here because it won't go through the network, it will just happen inside the computer. So this part basically handles the headers, so it tells Nginx what to do with the headers it received through the HTTPS connection and how to forward it as an HTTP to the Nextcloud snap, which runs on the same computer. So you can see that 127.0.01 IP address that refers to the localhost, so it should just be transferred to the port 81 through the same computer without using the network. So this is where our reverse proxy Nginx will forward the request after decrypting it. So let's save this file and quit. And so we created it in the Nginx directory under the sites available. So to activate this site, we actually have to create a symbolic link into the directory called sites enabled. And so that's what we are going to do here. Just sudo ln-s to create a symbolic link, and /etc/nginx/sites available /nextcloud. So this is our file, and we will link it to etc/nginx/sites-enabled, and this will create the symbolic link inside the sites enabled directory, and Nginx is looking at the sites enabled directory when it's actually working. But for that we need to check whether our syntax for these configuration files is valid. So let's type in sudo nginx -t, and this will check whether our configuration files are okay, and so the test is successful. So what we can do here is sudo systemctl restart nginx or restart nginx.service, both will work. And what it does is basically reloads the web server, and when the web server, this Nginx server is, or reverse proxy and /web server is reloaded, it will reload the configuration files again and will apply these new configurations when working. In this tutorial you can have a look at this block if you want to change some settings in your behavior of your reverse proxy as it regards to timeouts, which can, be an issue on slow internet connections with big files being transferred to and from your server. So now we have successfully set up that Nginx forwards our requests to the snap of the Nextcloud on the ports that the Nextcloud snap is listening to, but this Nextcloud snap is going to receive HTTP requests without any encryption, and it will also give its answer without encryption, and Nginx will be handling the encryption part of these things. But so the Nextcloud is a web application which basically generates web links for actions, and in this setup it will always generate HTTP links, not HTTPS links, because it sees that it has been called through the HTTP protocol. And this will generally work with your browser on your PC, because we just set up Nginx to always redirect the HTTP traffic to HTTPS. But on certain mobile applications that will want to interface with your Nextcloud install, this kind of HTTPS and HTTP discrepancy will cause the mobile application to have some problems. So what we have to do is we have to force the Nextcloud install to always generate HTTPS links. So the user can click on a link, and that click will always automatically be an HTTPS link. And so how to do that, I actually found the answer for that on no one else but Reddit, and we have to use this nextcloud.occ config system set command to overwrite the protocol to HTTPS. And this is basically, you can find some explanation on the GitHub of Nextcloud. And so this is how it generates the URLs. So we will have to use this overwrite protocol command to force it to generate the HTTPS links. So let's type in sudo-i nextcloud.oc, there is no space there, .occ, and config system set overwrite protocol -- value equals, and it will be HTTPS. And so we can see that system config value override protocol has been set to the HTTPS string finally. So this was one of the things we had to do, and there is one more thing we have to do, and for that we will have to go back to our tutorial on DigitalOcean. Here what they suggest is that we add the trusted domains. So basically Nextcloud is trying to be very safe, so it will only produce the web pages that we need to access this web application if the server has been called through trusted domain names. So basically what we have just set up in Nginx, like which is the domain name that this server should be called to the traffic to be redirected to the Nextcloud snap. So this is the same. So Nextcloud snap checks what kind of domain was I invoked by and can I trust that domain. And so this is what that command will do. So we can check that it's only if we use the sudo -i nextcloud.occ config system get trusted underscore domains. You can see it only contains just one line, localhost, and we can add multiple lines if we have multiple domains. Maybe you are using some kind of longer domain and you are also using a shorter domain, so you can add multiple ones by using this sudo -i nextcloud.occ config system set, and it will be trusted underscore domains, and we will type in the number 1 because so here the localhost is on number 0 and we will add 1 at number 1, and we will type in --value equals and mine is going to be testcloud.nicemicro.com, and of course you will have to give the same domain name here that you used in your Nginx server block. And if I do that and go back to the system get command, so I can check that now my list of trusted domains contains 2 entries, and if you want to add more, then you have to add like this trusted domains 2 or trusted domains 3, etc. You can add as much trusted domain names here as you want. Okay, so now that we have done that, there is still one problem, and that problem is that we are using HTTPS, and HTTPS requires us to have a certificate from a trusted source, and for that we need to install a few more things so we can get a certificate that will certify that this domain name is actually contains that service that we actually say it contains. And for that we are using another of DigitalOcean's tutorials, and we are going to install Certbot, and we will configure Certbot with Nginx. And so we are going to install a few things here, so let's just type in sudo apt install, and this will be python-acme, and then python 3-acme, and then python 3-certbot with a C, certbot, and then python 3-mock, and then python 3-open SSL, and then python 3-pkg-resources, and then python 3-pyparsing, and python 3-zope.interface. And let's hope I haven't. Oh yeah, and I made a mistake at this one, parsing. Can you install these? Yes, please install these. And well, these Python packages will be installed. These are the dependencies for our Certbot Nginx component, and so let's install that with sudo apt install python 3-certbot-nginx. And now that one is also configured, so we can double check if our firewall really allows through Nginx. And for that I will type in sudo ufw status, and yes, I can double check that things are working. Great. So now that has been done, we can, and this is suggested here in this tutorial, so anyways, we just did that. We can be quite sure, but maybe we forgot to enable Nginx through the firewall. We don't want that. We want our server to be available through the internet. Okay, so we will use this certbot command to get the certificates for those domains that are basically signaled by these -d switches. So for me, it is going to be sudo certbot -nginx -d and testcloud.nicemicro.com. And so here again, same domain name that you were using before, and then you will have to enter an email address and well, answer a few questions here. So give an email address, and they will ask whether you want to give this email address to the Electronic Freedom Frontier, EFF, Electronic Freedom Frontier Foundation, or something like that. And if you want to, because you need the email address because these certificates expire, and before they expire, they want a contact for you. So type in your email address and answer the questions to your heart's content. I am not going to show you my email address here and my answers. I will show you the result of my installation. Oh, okay, so I did give my email address and said A as in agree to the terms and conditions. I don't want the EFF to send me emails. I've already subscribed to their newsletter previously, and here we can actually ask Certbot to do the redirection from HTTP to HTTPS, but we have already done that manually, so we can just no redirect and no further changes. So we can take a look at what kind of changes Certbot made to our files that describe the server blocks. So let's take a look at the etc/nginx/sites available /nextcloud. And you can see that it basically, if we go down to the bottom, it just added the SSL certificate and the SSL certificate key files to this server block. So from now on, the authenticating authority can verify our identity. So without this, a lot of web browsers wouldn't even open your website because they just don't trust the websites without any trusted certificate authorities. So let's just exit here, and so now we basically finished with the setup. What we can do is at least what the DigitalOcean tutorial suggests is that we do a test run for the certificate renewal process, even though Certbot is set up to automatically test whether we need to renew our certificates, and it renews them automatically for us. So we won't have to worry about that to do that manually, but let's just test how this works, and we can do that by sudo certbot renew and --dry-run, and let's see what happens. So it will just check all our certificates, and of course none of them are due for renewal because we just generated them, and well, it's only one certificate. And so next step, what we should do is basically we will be setting up a parallel web service. It's going to be just a simple website that will be served by Nginx itself. So as we have already checked, there are these multiple server blocks, so we will create another server block, but that one won't redirect the traffic to another program like the previous one redirected the traffic to Nextcloud. This one won't be redirected. This one will just display simple HTML website. Well, it is going to be simple in our case, but you can make any kind of website based on that. So for example, my website, nicemicro.com, runs on Nginx, and I can do the same thing on that server, just use multiple website in multiple server blocks, and also just add like this kind of web applications like we did with Nextcloud. So let's first prepare our website. And so for that, we are going to be creating a new directory, because well, there is like a default web directory that has already been created, but maybe you want to host multiple websites on the same server, so it's better idea to just separate each website to its own directory first. So we are going to create a directory in /var/www, and you can name it whatever you want. I am just going to name it web, because it's going to be the simple website. And then I will also make a directory inside this one that's going to be /var/www/web/html. So basically each website that will be run on this server will be placed in a directory under this var/www, and in each directory there will be a separate HTML directory which will contain the HTML files. This is going to be for, first of all, a little convenience, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to give the ownership of that directory to my user. My username on this computer is Nicemicro, and it's the Nicemicro group that will get this ownership, because I am the only user. But if you have multiple users, you might want to use some kind of different group, but then you will have to check how this kind of Unix style basically file ownership and stuff like that works. We are not going to go into that in detail, so let's just own this web/html directory to our regular user. So this way the root directory, like the var/www/web, which is for this site, that directory still is owned by our root user, but this HTML directory inside is owned by our regular user, so we will be able to put files in there without using sudo. We also have to give us some permission, so let's modify the permission with sudo chmod 755 and /var/www/web/html, and we can cd into this directory now. So /var/www/web, and if I just go here first and I say ls-la, then you can see here that this directory and its parent directory is owned by root, but the HTML directory is now owned by Nicemicro, and Nicemicro has the read, write, and execute rights, and well, no one else has write permissions to that, only read and execute. So let's cd into the HTML directory here, and now here we can just create one dummy website. It's going to be very simple. I will just use Vim. You can see like here I don't need to use sudo anymore. I can just create my own file, and I will just HTML. So as you can see, I just created this very simple website here, which doesn't contain anything. It contains a title and some simple text, so I will just save this and quit. So now we can see that, oops, ls-la, that's what I wanted to do, sorry. So we can see we have now an index.html file here. So next we will need to create a new server block in our Nginx setup. So we will have to use, let me just go back to my home directory so my prompt is shorter. So sudo vim, so you can use sudo nano of course, etc/nginx/sites available / I will just call this also web, but if you are using multiple websites on the same computer, you can maybe rename it like yoursite.com. like this will be the directory name, or rather the file name here. It's a good practice to give this file the same name as what name you gave this directory and the website, so you just don't get confused. So let's create this file in the sites available directory, and basically we will create a very simple server block. It will be something like you can see in this tutorial, but it will also contain a redirection. So let me create my file and I will explain what it contains. So as you can see, I created my file. It contains the same redirection, and it contains this. So from the HTTP we redirect to HTTPS, and well, I should change this to whatever my real website will be called, instead of this example thing that I just copied from my website, as you can see here. And so if you are also copying it from my website, then these are the things you should change. Is I will call it test www.nicemicro.com, and this one should also be changed, this server name here, and this will be also nicemicro.com, and this will be called test www. You can see that basically what it does is, if the server name was this, then if it's port 80 and HTTP, then just redirect it to the port 443 with HTTPS. So that's what we want. And if it's HTTPS, then you can see that the root, so if you named your directory different than web, then you should change this. So maybe it is test www, so it should also be test www. It doesn't really matter, but be careful that you name your directory correctly. And what it will do, like this index directive here, will tell us that the first file that it should look up in this directory should be index.html. So if someone just types in this address to the browser, it will be just it doesn't contain what file you want to look for, but the index file that will be served automatically will be the index.html. You can of course use anything else, but this is what is like a common practice on the web. And this location is just basically whatever location we get, we just try if there is a file that is called by that name. If not, then we will try if there is a directory called by that name, and if not, then we will just give like a 404 site not found error back. So this is what this simple server block does. So we can save and quit it, and there is one thing that's missing, is we have to enable this site. So of course we need to create the sudo ln-s to create the symbolic link, so this site is not just available but also active on our website. To the sites, first we need here sites available /web, and we will we will create a link to etc/nginx/sites enabled. Of course, be mindful that whatever you name this server block, this is what you want to put in this ln command too. Of course, let's check the syntax again with sudo nginx-t, and okay, syntax is okay, configuration is successful, so we can use the systemctl restart ngin X command to restart our web server and now include these newly created server blocks in its configuration. And of course we also need to acquire a certification with Certbot --Nginx -d, and so you should type in your domain name, which in my case was tests www.nicemicro.com. I will do the same things, so let's create the certificates. And so it also asks us if we want to redirect. We don't want redirect because we did that manually. You can go back and check out your I'll just remove this sudo command here. Let's check out our server block file, and we can see it. The certificate and the certificate key files have been added to the end of our file by Certbot. And so now things should be up and running, so we can open up our website. So let me show you that if I go to the test www.nicemicro.com, this is what I get. Welcome to a test page. If you see this, the web server works. And if I go to testcloud.nicemicro.com, then I get to see my Nextcloud login, and I can just use my admin and the QWER username and password combination to log into this Nextcloud instance. And I will also have to check whether these things work on the mobile. So you can see here that the website loaded properly and we are using the HTTPS links. And now let me try to log in with my Android application. So here I have the Android tablet, so I have to type in the server name, which is testcloud.nicemicro.com. And so now it's loading, and it will ask for me to log in, and it will ask for my credentials, which I will have here. It was admin, and my secret password, of course, has to be typed in, and then grant access. And let's see if the Android application actually loads up properly. So it says there are no files here. Yeah, it loaded. It just loaded up. It loaded up all the default files that are in my folder. And so you can see that this configuration works both on the web and both on the Android version. And one last thing is that we can actually show here. I already tried it, but I will show you again. If I just ping the testcloud.nicemicro.com, this is the IP address we are actually pinging. And if I am pinging test www.nicemicro.com, it's the same IP address, so same server gives us different websites based on the name we are accessing it, and you can add more if you want. So if you just figure out how all these different applications handle the ports, then you can install new applications from snap packages, change the ports to something else, so it shouldn't be the same as you have with Nextcloud, and just refer to those ports in your server blocks in Nginx, and that will solve your issues. So you can host all these different services on the same server, which, you know, if you are just using it by yourself or maybe with your family or small company, this way you don't need a dedicated server for Nextcloud, dedicated server for this and that. You can reduce your costs on hosting substantially if you know these kind of tricks. And if for some reason you watch this tutorial without actually having a virtual private server provider chosen, you can use my affiliate link on my website to DigitalOcean to support my work a little. And well, just check out nicemicro.com. I will be posting more and more text-based tutorials, then if you are interested, of course, check out this channel and subscribe, because I will keep on posting video tutorials here too. And well, maybe there will be something you would be interested in the future too. I am also posting a lot of rants about Linux, more specifically a lot of Arch Linux related content, but in general I talk a lot about free software too. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave them down below, as well as you can find the sources for this video in the description of this video. And well, I think I told you everything I wanted, so hopefully you will come back and we will see each other the next time. And have a good time until then. Bye bye.